We're losing our talents. I woke up earlier this morning pondering on so many shenanigans going on in our dear nation. There's just a lot happening, and the pressure is indeed getting worse. I want you watching right now to take a moment and scan through the people in your network or sphere of interaction, and you would find out that at least one brilliant talent has bid farewell to Nigeria. We're spontaneously losing our talents in Nigeria, and we're spontaneously losing our talents. In Nigeria, we've had the super ability to find comic relief in the face of extreme situations and challenges. As much as we joke about this, it's getting more serious by the day. Without sounding biased, Nigerians are super smart and intelligent. We've got some of Africa's best brains, if not globally. We're exporting our best hands at an alarming rate, and that's personally worrisome to me. I've had to talk with some of these folks who have relocated to other countries, and there's a consistent concern that triggered their relocation, which is Nigeria isn't working. If you pause for a moment and think about it, we really do not have an enabling environment that supports advancement at a certain level. Our talents leave, and in a short while, they are doing so well in foreign environments. This is not even about the dollar to naira brouhaha. That's like a whole conversation for another show. This is about having access to fundamental resources that support growth and development. Just to digress a bit, I've always wondered where my taxes are being channeled into. Maybe you're wondering, same. These things are not rocket science. It takes basic level intelligence. Our talents are leaving, and no one is doing anything about it. So I'll point to Eni, because Eni said something before Eni even speaks. Let me lay up what Eni said, about reintegration, right? It's the psychology or the mindset of leaving, because what you said is super important. And Hussein said, when you're relocating or when you're traveling, things are getting better. You're leaving this side of hell to another side, a better side. And people are going through a lot in foreign countries. They cannot come back because they are going to be judged.
Yes.
Because they're going to wonder, what have I built in 7 years? I know someone that is stuck for like 25 years.
Exactly.
They can't come back because of the expectation. Yeah. I'd rather die here than return. So, but let's come back to, we're losing our talents. Why are we not doing anything about it?
You see, this topic of recent, because of the things that I do, is something that I have analyzed personally as well as with research. And I am seeing something. So we're talking about, you mentioned different things in there, enabling environment, government, everything. And people say often, our talents go and they do so well. You said that as well. And I started questioning this narrative.
Ideology, yeah.
Yes, because I'm like, is it really true? We're about 250 million people and counting. So we have a high number of Nigerians there. And in a society where there's a lot of evidence-based, there's data, there's facts and everything. And so we see one or two random Nigerians who pop up as super stories. But for the number of Nigerians that are actually in diaspora, are they really doing well the way we think? Or are they just borderline surviving? And so
in a working economy.
Are they so in a working economy? But another question that brings me to is that economies work, yes, so you have government. And I keep saying to people every single time, the sad part or interesting part is that Nigeria is not like a society where you have a certain set of people. It's not a traditional society where a certain set of people rule, like a family is leadership based. Thank you. I didn't want to use big English. I wanted to use normal everyday English. Like you say. Let's use normal English. Everyday English.
Yeah.
Now, people that go into government, right, whether we recycle them from 20 Gbogboro to now, come from within us. So there is already fundamentally, people say when they get into that place, something enters, and I'm thinking, you see, here we have another problem, religion. Because something does not just fly on somebody. We have so now, first issue is government enabling systems come from within us.
Yeah.
Now, the second part of that, the flip side of that is that in the last 2 weeks, I've almost removed my hair to the point where I'm like, you know what, the little hair left on my head, let me wear a wig. Because our value system, our attitude, our way of reasoning, our level of mediocrity and incompetence is so high. That's another topic for another advocacy. Exactly. But what am I trying to say from this? Now, Nigerians going abroad and surviving well, I would not say doing well. They are surviving well because, like we said, there's a working economy of people who decided to think and have a value. What we have is very good IQ. But Nigerians seem to be low on EQ, emotional intelligence, and social quotient.
Yeah.
And so the challenges that we're having even as a people, because we keep talking about if the government doesn't do well, vote them out. But then again, as people, in our own little sphere of influence, are we doing well? Or are we laying the blame on a failed government as usual? So, I mean, I could go on about the many examples I've had in this last 1 week that finally, you know, I actually had to do a gratitude challenge yesterday because I was going mad. Like, I was like, what is wrong with our fellow people, normal, everyday people like you and I, who our standards of doing anything are so abysmal. So when Nigerians supposedly go there, or why they're jackpotting and we're losing our talents, is that somehow as human beings, we're like animals, Nigerians, we're living, so we're like goats, we need to be pushed. So when the ones that decide to save their souls go to a system where somebody will say, do right, or you have punishments. So that's why it seems like they're doing well. IQ going, but they're just basic. And so to our talents, as we say, yes, we are losing it. What are we going to do? That was your final question.
So I would
okay.
A little bit.
Sorry, before you come in, I need to do a fact check.
I want us to dwell.
Wait.
Hold up, Elijah.
Fact check. We are not
Okay, fact check.
I said
not 250 million.
one more, Nabi.
No more.
One
We
less.
are above 200 million, not 250 million.
Okay.
So,
good.
Wow.
But I'd like us to,
You are from
I'd
Bureau
like
of
us to
Statistics,
pretty much focus on what's the way forward.
Exactly.
What do we do to control that? Because I mean, we can bend about the problem for a long time.
So thank you for chipping in that, right? So for me, I want to look at it from different perspective. But on a general note, I would say Nigerians, we are lazy.
I agree with you.
Wait, we are what?
I agree
lazy.
with you.
I don't agree.
I will tell you why.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
I'll tell you
a
why.
larger chunk.
On a larger chunk.
We can label
No.
it.
What I'm saying, you know, the larger chunk, even if you have 10 people who are lazy, one person will start working, you won't see the work. That's this.
No, that's the Buhari's narrative.
Well, it's not.
I think
I will break it down. Now, you see, people work generally in the world. Education system is so designed to be more of not thinkers but dependent. So we already have Nigerians, right? We have that everywhere in the world. But for Nigerians, you want somebody, just like you say, a working system, somebody to give you an order. Proactiveness, when you see a work colleague, to say 9 to 5 p.m. is your work time. Once it is 5, you see them close, they don't want to know if anything. Now, when you now look at the difference between us and those developed countries, it's not as if we are not running some kind of a similar system when it comes to work rate, but they have that intention to solve a problem.
Exactly.
We don't have majority.
Exactly.
We are just after greener pasture. I want to have my earnings, day-to-day salaries and stuff like that, right? Now, beyond that, we now look at I was in Rwanda some years back. Paul Kagame was doing, he said, Africans, we need to start managing our data. You say we are 200, we are whatever.
We are
where
200.
Where's
is
the
your
real data? That's actually, are you with the Bureau of Statistics?
No, please.
Are you with, no, that's
Where's the data?
Do you have
I'm
the
telling you,
data?
we don't have data.
You don't have data actually.
We don't have data that is documented.
President Paul Kagame says something. He said, one thing we don't know is Africans are talented, right? But we don't know how to manage our data, our resources, which is the data, right? If we don't start managing our data, we will start exporting our talents to them. It is those talents that we exported, the data that we don't know how to manage, they will manage it and sell it at a high cost back to us. Do you understand? Now, taking responsibility to solve a problem. Now, taking it back to a normal, just like you said, our economy, I would say even our friends, when you see a friend, we beef ourselves because if this person is, we compete. Instead of us to look at this person is solving a problem, how can we come together and get things done? Now, should we wait for the government? Way forward, right? Should we wait for the government? I don't think. I'll give you 2 typical examples, which it is not waiting for the government. The first example, the current, the JAMB registrar, Professor Oloyede, he was the VC, former VC of University of Ilorin. He set his own standard, even if he's representing the interest of the government. When he came into JAMB, you saw a lot of things that he redesigned, standards, and saying, okay, the SSCs of this money, they are not meant to generate revenue for the company, for the country. But when they see SSCs, they say, these are the standard, we will turn these SSCs back. They are setting new rules. That's what it means. Now, I give you another example. You have a lot of fintech space, the likes of Flutterwave, the likes of Kuda, the likes of Team Apps, the likes of OPay. They did not wait for the government to decentralize finance. They started to solve problem, then government came in to regulate and guide them that this and this and these are where you do. Government is still working on model operandi on, you see a lot of new licenses coming out for fintechs and stuff like that because government is trying to see, these people are moving faster than us. How can we manage
And they're going to keep moving faster.
So if they sit down and saying they have to wait for 50 billion equity contribution to have a commercial bank and follow all those standards that government, and government is not making an enabling environment, they won't start. Do you understand? So it is inward. We need to start seeing solving problem as our priority, not dependent.
Can I just
quickly
come in to answer Victor's question of what for me my final thoughts was as you said was talking as everybody, I said what is the way forward? First thing first, I always would come from the point of migration is a fundamental human right. And truly, is it really a problem that people are migrating? And I think with the mindset, so people are going and you say we're losing our talent. Can we actually look at it as what opportunities does this create for those of us here? What about collaborations? Is it really bad that people are going there? Are we actually losing our talent or are we expanding our territory? Because at the end of the day, are we creating a bigger Nigeria that is outside our physical territory? Well, that's what Nigeria does. Look at remittances. So what we can then say is that while those people are going, what we can do as a way forward, as a solution, is to say, let's keep on honing and developing the homegrown, the people that are left here. That how in football, where initially, Nigeria, all the best people went and then they started developing homegrown football players, which I don't know how far we've gone with that either. But then the truth is that if we start looking at it that way and say collaborations, you are not living, you don't have a desire to live, or you don't even have the opportunity to live, but we have people that are there. What can we do? How do we, with technology today, we have an opportunity to actually take this talent migration to an advantage.
Any for presidents.
Okay,
let's accentuate with Elijah.
The voice is speaking in my head.
Now the thing is,
1 minute.
I want to respond.
Yeah, just tie the clincher.
I actually agree with you, Enitan, but I want to beg to disagree a little bit with Hussein. Nigerians are not lazy. We lack social intelligence, emotional intelligence. We agree with that, but definitely not laziness.
Laziness. Okay, we have to wrap up.
Nigerians work hard, but we don't.
No, we work
perhaps
hard.
we are not channeling our energy right now.
Then working hard doesn't mean you're not lazy.
Exactly. Well, but
laziness can be mental, can be physical.
Now the thing is, this jackpot thing has become a very serious issue. Even if Nigeria becomes as working as any first world country, people will still live.
Yes.
The issue is not living. The issue is what is the intention of living. A lot of Nigerians live for the wrong motives. If you just get passport now, you want to travel out, everybody, the next thing they'll start counting for you. When is it coming to buy a house, to build a house here? Okay. So now, the way forward, you're asking for the way forward. Yes. I agree what you said. We have to try our best to collaborate with ourselves. We should learn the act of collaboration, trust, building trust, and then see how we can build our system. Why the government provide an enabling environment. And then the fact that somebody jackpot or traveled out or went out, you should learn to work more into their system. Don't just go out blindly. I want to travel for traveling sake. Because when you get there without preparing yourself, you might jackpot, but your mind does not jackpot Let me use proper English for those that don't understand what Japa
Migrate.
is. You might actually migrate from Nigeria to a first world country, but your mindset is still localized.
Exactly.
So you need to go there, learn whatever you can learn, improve yourself, and then see how you can collaborate with people back at home. So that we can keep building our system. And this is what, in some climes, this is what they did actually. Some countries where they had people left to first world country and they were able to send ideas back home.
Thank you.
I think you've opened the honestness, but anyway, the show's got to go on.
All right. We can just be here and vent forever. And so right about now, we're just going to have Hussein Olanrewaju just after the break. Do stay with us.